What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, Dillian Whyte stops Alexander Povetkin in dramatic fashion in the fourth round of their fight. Oddly enough, he hurt Povetkin every single round of this fight. Povetkin looked like he was on wobbly legs the entire fight. Povetkin didn't look stable from the opening bell. Alexander Povetkin was wobbling around the ring from the opening bell. Dillian Whyte was swinging punches at Alexander Povetkin, and just as he was swinging punches at Alexander Povetkin, Alexander Povetkin was wobbling and stumbling all around, and finally in the fourth round, actually in the third round, Dillian Whyte caught Alexander Povetkin with a big right hand. Started getting Alexander Povetkin all wobbly, and then he caught him with a left hook, but the bell rung. It was only like 10 seconds left in that round, and that was in the third round. Then in the fourth round, Dillian Whyte, he caught him with another big right hook, and it got the party started, and he ended up dropping Povetkin. And after he dropped Alexander Povetkin, the referee said he saw enough. He called a halt to the fight in the fourth round. He just waved Povetkin off. He seemed to not be his normal self the entire fight. Dillian Whyte was very patient. Dillian Whyte at times he did, allow himself to, get real overly eager, but he didn't let himself fall into the trap where Alexander Povetkin could capitalize, because Alexander Povetkin was throwing big punches back at Dillian Whyte. He was trying to counter Dillian Whyte, but Dillian Whyte didn't allow that to take place. Now Dillian Whyte, 27 wins, 2 losses, 18 wins by knockout. He himself was knocked out twice by Alexander Povetkin and Anthony Joshua. He's 32 years of age. Just got the stoppage victory over knockout victory over Alexander Povetkin. So now Alexander Povetkin, 36 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, 25 wins by way of knockout. And now he was knocked out twice in his career by Anthony Joshua, and now by Dillian Whyte. So Dillian Whyte got the, he avenged the loss that he had to Alexander Povetkin in the fight where Dillian Whyte was winning that fight. Dillian Whyte was landing big right hands in that fight. He dropped Alexander Povetkin twice in that fight. He hurt Alexander Povetkin. So it was just simply a continuation. I wanted to see if this was a case of, was it a fluke on the part of Alexander Povetkin? Dillian Whyte made a mistake, or was it just that Alexander Povetkin had Dillian Whyte number, and it proved to be a fluke? Because in this fight, you could clearly see Dillian Whyte was the better fighter, hands down, bar none. But with that said, Dillian Whyte, after the first round, you could see him gasping for air. He was very tired, and throughout this fight, he was pacing himself, and he still was fatigued, okay? So I just can't see Dillian Whyte competing with the upper echelon in the heavyweight division. I can't see Dillian Whyte beating Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. We already saw he lost to Anthony Joshua. He's knocked out in that fight. I don't see him beating Deontay Wilder. That would be a huge fight. Now, obviously, Deontay Wilder's in arbitration with Tyson Fury, but if Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury do come to some agreement as they sign the contracts for a 2-fight deal, and if it does push through and we see Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury, I would love to see Deontay Wilder versus Dillian Whyte. There's a rivalry there. There's a built-in storyline. The promotion for that would be absolutely enormous. It would speak volumes, okay? Now, remember, Dillian Whyte was the WBC mandatory challenger before he was brutally knocked out by Alexander Povetkin. Now, Mauricio Sulaiman, WBC president, he stated that if Dillian Whyte and Deontay Wilder did fight, they would be fighting for the mandatory position for the WBC title if that was to come to fruition, okay? So with that said, I would love to see Deontay Wilder and Dillian Whyte at some point in time, even if Deontay Wilder happens to get the trilogy match with Tyson Fury, and he beats Tyson Fury somewhere down the line. I still would like to see this rivalry because it's a built-in rivalry. It's going to be action-packed. Obviously, somebody's going to get knocked out in that fight. So I expect Deontay Wilder to knock out Dillian Whyte because just styles make fights. Deontay Wilder, 6'7", very rangy, very wiry, and the hardest puncher in the history of the sport of boxing. Dillian Whyte is 6'4", 243 pounds. He came in for this fight with Alexander Povetkin. He has a very long reach himself, at 78-inch arm reach, okay? But Deontay Wilder, extremely wiry frame, and, the boxing world have been calling for this fight now, because the storyline, the history. Deontay Wilder, 42 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 41 wins by way of knockout. Okay. And Deontay Wilder 6'7" with an 83-inch arm reach. Okay. So Deontay Wilder will have a 3-inch height advantage over Dillian Whyte and a 5-inch arm reach advantage over Dillian Whyte. And that speaks volumes when you're dealing with somebody with the athletic ability and the power of Deontay Wilder. Okay, so that would make for an action-packed fight in itself, and it would deliver for the fans. That fight would be impossible not to deliver. Okay, so now the fact is, Dillian Whyte, he's lost his he lost his position, to be the WBC mandatory. So he's looking to, put himself back in position, to fight for a world title. He's fought for a world title, but he's never won a world title. He fought Anthony Joshua, but he's never won a world title. And that was for, that wasn't for one of the 4 major sanction bodies, okay? That was for a British title. So he's never fought for one of the 4 major sanction bodies, okay? So Dillian Whyte is a title contender his entire career at 32 years old. He's never even fought for a world title, nonetheless, but been a world champion. So this was a step in the right direction for Dillian Whyte. Like I said, Alexander Povetkin, he looked completely sloppy. He looked completely gassed. He did not look anywhere close to himself. But then, on the flip side of that, you got to look at it from the standpoint of, in the first fight, he didn't look like himself. He looked like, not that he didn't look like himself. He didn't look like he could compete with Dillian Whyte. Okay, Dillian Whyte looked like the better fighter. And tonight, Dillian Whyte showed that he is indeed the better fighter. He's better than Alexander Povetkin. Okay. He put his jab is much better than Alexander Povetkin, especially Alexander Povetkin is in advanced stage of his career. He's over 40 years old, so he's not a young man. He's took a lot of punishment. He's been in a lot of big fights. He's been knocked out, a few times in his career. So, it made for an action-packed fight, right? And it was just that. It delivered the first time and it delivered tonight. Just the fact that Alexander Povetkin, he just didn't look like he was on sturdy legs. He looked like something was completely wrong with him. Like I said, he was bumbling and stumbling all over the place. He was tripping over his feet. From the opening bell, he's tripping over his feet. Dillian Whyte glancing him with punches and he's, wiggling and bobbling all over the place, so he just didn't look like he was on sturdy legs. He didn't seem to have any accuracy. He didn't have any power. And I believe Dillian Whyte should have gotten him out of there even quicker than he did. I think he should have, knocked him out even quicker than he did, right? Because he was landing a big clean punches. But the fight with Dillian Whyte and Deontay Wilder, that wouldn't end well for Dillian Whyte. I don't think that it would go past 3 rounds. I think Deontay Wilder would knock him out. Another big fight would be Dillian Whyte versus former unified heavyweight Mexican world champion superstar boxer Andy Ruiz Jr. Andy Ruiz Jr. will be taking on Chris Arreola on pay-per-view. I don't agree with that fight being on pay-per-view, but, he dropped Anthony Joshua 4 times and ultimately stopped him in that fight. So I expect Andy Ruiz Jr. to be victorious against Chris Arreola. He's in shape, at least that's what it appears to be, because they showed us that he was in shape for the Anthony Joshua rematch, and he came in at his heaviest in his career. He's 33 wins, 2 losses, 22 wins by way of knockout. He is 31 years of age, stands at 6'2" with a 74-inch arm reach. So he's slightly shorter, 2 inches shorter than Dillian Whyte, 4 inches arm reach shorter than Dillian Whyte. But at the end of the day, he has very fast hands. He puts his combinations together very, very beautifully, and that would make for an action-packed fight. There's a lot of talk between Andy Ruiz and Dillian Whyte at one point in time. Another big fight, in my opinion, would be great. Another big fight, in my opinion, that would be, huge for Dillian Whyte is, Luis Ortiz. A fight between Luis King Kong Ortiz and Dillian Whyte. That would be action-packed. That would make for a big fight. So there's a lot of big fights out there for Dillian Whyte. There's a lot of action-packed fights for the fans. Obviously Dillian Whyte, he wants his opportunity to fight for a world title, being 32 years of age and never fighting for a world title, nor never won the world title, obviously. So with that said, he's looking for the upper echelon: Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder. He wants to put himself in position to be a world champion. But at this point in time, If Deontay Wilder does land in Tyson Fury trilogy, and Deontay Wilder is successful against Tyson Fury, well, then you can expect Deontay Wilder to pursue Anthony Joshua for undisputed. And if the Deontay Wilder doesn't get the trilogy, well, then you can expect Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua to have 2 fights. So he's a long ways off. He's at least a year off before he gets an opportunity to fight for a world championship. But nonetheless, he got the job done tonight. He did what he was supposed to do. I would like to see. Andy Ruiz is looking towards a fight with Deontay Wilder as well, obviously. So, let's see how this all unfolds. But I'd like to see Luis King Kong Ortiz and Dillian Whyte next. But make sure you hit the like button, drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed? Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Road. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.